The park is gone off of Google. It's a challenge.
We dare you.
They're afraid to stand up for their rights. You shouldn't even be president of the board. I gotta call the police. She calls the code enforcement department at the county.
My name's Kurt with Walton County Code Enforcement.
Okay.
We received a complaint about someone living in a shed.
To go ahead and come onto the lot and replace the lock, which we paid extra money to rent that shed. That means they're gonna try to evict us.
I'll let you talk about it.
If you missed Harassed Part 1 or Part 2, make sure you watch them first. You will find a link to those videos down in the description. Welcome to, actually, this is Part 3, if you can believe it, of Harassed in this RV park during the pandemic. We thought it would get better, and no.
It's actually ramped up. This is just unbelievable.
You couldn't make this stuff up. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Again, this is here for your entertainment, but also so that you avoid this place particularly, and places like this. It just goes so far beyond anything we've ever ran into before. We will tell you the name of this RV park at the end of this video, but it is gone off of Google. The reviews are all gone, including the one that Cheri left and the one that Logan left. I don't know what that's about. So I left a message for the owner, and he finally called me back. And the call went really well. He was very understanding.
He's understanding because he's stayed here before. He knows
Right.
what this place is like.
Yeah, he really does. We've been harassed. We've been singled out. We've been lied about. They're trying to apply a double standard that will let some people stay for, over the weekend in a shed, but we don't want anybody staying longer than that. I don't know, they just made up that rule after we were already here. Seriously, she is walking around watching late at night. I mean, we were up later a night or two ago, and I think it was close to midnight, and she was still watching us. I think where Cheri's son was going to go. So it's literally like we're under surveillance here 24/7. So it's unlike any other RV park experience we've ever had in our lives. Logan's car was already gone, so he's going to inform the board of that.
And he didn't say anything about needing to sign any new rules.
No, not at all. And Logan wasn't staying here all the time.
No.
So he was just going to let the board know that that's what was going on, that maybe they would leave us alone. We could hope, at least.
So the thing is they should, if you're going to be on a board or be on an HOA, you should understand laws. And there is a law that people have a right to their peace and enjoyment of their property. And that means leave them alone. But they can't do that.
No, park management is here for the enjoyment of owners, guests, renters. Whoever is here has a right to be here. And that is not the feeling we got almost from the beginning.
Yeah, we just didn't feel welcome here at all. And then they were a little bit nice after you reminded them that we were here before and helped them. And yeah,
that held them off a little bit.
Maybe a couple days.
A few weeks maybe. Yeah, again, we just want our peace and to be able to enjoy this beautiful area. It's making us kind of paranoid that we have to be like looking around like, where are they, and are we violating some rule?
Yeah.
It doesn't make us even comfortable to be out there.
We even recorded a video right here, and we kept like looking, because people even commented like, what are you looking at? It's like, we're paranoid here. We're like, oh, is there somebody in our yard again? What are they doing?
Yeah, we're gonna have to break that habit after we leave here, get back to normal relaxed camping mode.
Oh my gosh,
because this is stressful camping.
It has been stressful. Yeah. We stay to ourselves. We're working a lot inside our RV, and this has become so time consuming. We missed 2 deadlines on Thursday uploads because of what was going on, and that affects that affects our income in a big
Right.
way.
I got an email back from the owner of the lot that the board did not accept his answers to their complaint. We're going to let Logan stay.
There's some sheds here that they actually extended to make larger for guests.
Right. So they can stack them in them.
Yes.
Stack them in there like
it's
cordwood.
No, this is getting ridiculous. There's nothing in the rules about that, so we continued on.
And just because a board member tells us that the sheds are not available for sleeping for any longer than maybe a weekend doesn't make that a rule. That was never in the old rules that we signed or even in their new rules. And I can look at some current listings, even from board members' listings themselves of lots that they are renting in this park, and they actually show pictures of sheds with beds in them.
You want to talk about the bathrooms?
Yeah, well, one evening we were buzzing around with the e-bikes and we ran into a fellow renter.
Not literally run into them.
No, but we're not the only ones that have been picked on here.
Yes, this is a common theme here.
Yeah, she really had quite a few stories to share with us, and one of them was about the bathroom area at the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the only public restroom that you're not allowed to use.
Right. Well, I think they're like collecting all the HOA money, and then they're doing a lot of the maintenance themselves. They do the pool maintenance. It's like, what is happening with this money? And then they don't want to clean the bathroom, so they just close them.
Right, literally you're expected to clean up the bathroom after yourself. Now, obviously, if you make a mess.
Right, that makes sense.
But they have no janitorial staff hired to clean the bathroom at all, and they run it this way. They collect HOA fees, but they don't want to hire somebody to do that work. And they have all kinds of workers here doing yard work and other maintenance here. So I don't understand it. You're only allowed to use the pool restrooms if you are using the pool area. But it's the only public restroom that's
in
here.
the campground. Yeah.
Right. But that's what RV parks and campgrounds do for guests, is have extra bathrooms, because they're kind of a necessary thing.
Yes, and not all RVs have 2 bathrooms. And sometimes you need an extra bathroom. Crazy. But we were talking to a neighbor who's also renting that dropped by. We were having a nice dinner outside. And so we had a nice conversation about what goes down in this park.
Right. Finding out a lot more about this place, and not good.
Oh, remember when we were on the e-bikes? We were on the e-bikes riding around and then talking to one of the neighbors. And then here comes a golf cart. And guess who it was? It was all the board members and the president.
It was the board. Yeah.
And then they like addressed Logan and said, "What are you, like 40?" I was like, "He's 24. What is that about?"
They ask a lot of personal questions here.
They're very nosy. Maybe that's why they dig in the garbage.
I think I forgot to mention that one of the board members earlier was asking about your son. Oh, I know. They were trying to figure out if he was really your son. I don't think they believed that. I think they thought we rented out the shed to a stranger.
Subleasing to a local. I mean, he does have a Florida license plate, but he lives here.
Right, questioning how long he's been here in the area, what's going on.
Where does he work?
And yeah, I can see if you're being just friendly in general, but it's not that kind of conversation.
No, they're prying for anything they can use against you.
Right, so when they had a few drinks and kind of loosened up a little bit, then they started to let the words fly, questioning his age and thinking he's like twice as old as he actually is.
Yeah, that was crazy. So we were actually having a great conversation with the neighbor when they pulled up drunk, and really took over the whole conversation in front of our RV. Like, we were like...
Right, we had to excuse ourselves and say goodnight, and they
it was so awkward.
kept on talking.
Yeah, and they were just asking personal questions and being intrusive, and so we just walked away.
Kind of like they sensed we were maybe talking about them,
which
or the
we
park.
were.
It's like, you can't have the inmates talking to each other. They might have a plan to escape or something.
That's a good analogy. I like it.
So I got another email from the owner. Basically, it's stating from the board talking that the county has this rule that says no one can sleep in these sheds. I'm like, well, what? Let me see it. I haven't seen anything. So it's been shared with us that, you know, these were built 30 years ago and they maybe didn't get the proper permitting for people to stay in there. But that's not our problem.
Right.
We're just renters. You set it up to live in.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah. And they just wanted to use that as something to like harass us some more.
Right.
Because everybody else is doing it too.
The neighbors.
There's a precedent set here.
Right. And if it's some obscure county code law, we're going to utilize the facilities we have here.
Especially since we're in the middle of this pandemic.
There's a moratorium on evictions.
Yeah, and it's like, can y'all just like relax and just leave us alone, please?
And we are paying rent on time every month.
A large amount of rent.
Right. Oh, and I'm also being told that the builder never got the proper permitting to put water on these sheds, and all of them have washing machines and dryers in them, including the lots that the board members own themselves. This email was basically, if you don't abide by this code, having Logan leave now, we're going to have to ask you to leave. So I assume they're like, that means they're going to try to evict us. I don't even know if the eviction laws for COVID would apply to us, because that's a structure. So we don't really even know if we would, you know, fit into that or not. Just more stress and more harassment. So I responded to the owner with an email of all of our complaints, just summarizing some of the things we've been sharing with you guys.
Yeah, so all the things we've put up with since we've been here, making it so unpleasant.
Yeah.
What about the time that the Zoom call, we were...
Yeah, the seminar that I normally do the production for out in San Diego is now entirely virtual. So I am running basically the music and video, all of that online in an important seminar.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the board members are banging on the side of the RV at the door, and then going to the shed, and then knocking on that. Sorry guys, I'm in the middle of a business meeting, but if you insist on interrupting me, that's fine. So I got another email from the owner basically demanding that Logan get out of the shed by 9 a.m. the next morning. So you were actually gone.
I was with my mom helping her with some post-op care. So I was out of town for a couple of weeks. And this was all going down while I was gone.
Right, and I'm in the middle of trying to take care of this seminar online through Zoom, trying to figure out how the heck to handle this situation. I called the owner to try to reason with him, and we kind of came up with this plan that we would leave a little earlier than we expected to.
And we were ready.
We proposed that we leave by the end of the month rather than staying any longer. He said he was going to go ahead and run that by the board. He doubted they would accept it. So the owner was right. The board did not accept that Logan wasn't going to be out of there right away, even though we only had like a month left to stay here. They just wouldn't let that go. In the middle of the pandemic, he's spending time with us, a little bit of the time we have together, and it's like, nope. So I was being copied on these emails between the owner and the president of the board, and the owner was like communicating with the president of the board that to go ahead and come onto the lot and replace the lock on the shed, which we paid extra money specifically to rent that shed. And so this was getting really stressful. And again, I'm running a seminar online. You're gone.
Yeah.
And we were starting to notice something with your son.
Yeah. We're actually finding out he has something going on medically. And I actually have to monitor him and bring him medications. And I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, just something we've just discovered being here. So we're finding out that Logan has something going on, some kind of medical situation that we're trying to get appointments for him to figure out what it is and get a diagnosis. It's been super stressful on Cheri, and actually he's going to end up joining us as we go north from here up to Minnesota and to figure out like what's going on.
Yeah. And then he's going to be joining us going north for more appointments for more specialty care. But the point is like we're trying to manage this, and it's really stressful. And
it's another one of the, I guess, motivations behind this, the Be Kind shirts, that you never know what someone else is going through, you know, in their life. You know, everybody again is stressed out during the pandemic and the election stuff and economy and all of this stuff going on, but you can at least be kind to other people, and then that in turn allows them to maybe be kind to more people. And actually Logan designed a version of this shirt that is available through our link down below, and what we're doing with all the money from all the Be Kind t-shirts, all of that is going to go help take care of
his medical
expenses, because he's lost his job. He can't go back to work now until we figure this out, and we don't know how long that's going to take. So if you want to join this little kind of Be Kind campaign, so
movement,
to speak.
Yeah, it's kind of a movement. We want to start a movement of people just being kind. There's too many people struggling right now.
Right, and you know, we are human beings, all of us together, this entire world going through some tough times now. We can pull together, help each other get through this.
Love one another.
Now, we say there's a reason for everything.
And you always say, I love how Tom always says, find the opportunity in the challenge.
Right. We were meant to be here right now so we could expose this park for some of the things that they're doing that they should not be doing. Harassing people is not cool.
It's not okay.
Especially not now.
Yeah.
And you need to let people, you know, that are going through hard times, having medical issues like your son, that they're not aware of, but still you can be kind during this time.
And it's none of their business.
People.
You don't have to know other people's business, and it doesn't hurt to just be kind.
Right. So we'll have to show a picture of the shirt that he designed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's the one he wears that people compliment on. So yeah.
So again, you can find that link down below, and we really appreciate that if you join us in spreading a little more kindness during this time of need.
Thank
for
you.
So many people.
Just love one another.
So after looking through these emails between the owner and the president of the board to lock up the shed and that they don't want to have any problems, I felt like the only thing I could do was to call the police, because I didn't want there to be a problem, you know, where they're coming on here and I'm going out there to tell them not to do it. So I went ahead and called, and this was hilarious. In a stressful situation, I got connected to Deputy Gunn. His last name, Gunn. Deputy Gunn. I gotta call the police right now because they're planning to come and change the locks on the shed at 1 o'clock today. Even though we paid the rent, we have legal use of that shed. Basically, I'm renting an RV lot here in Miramar Beach. The board, it's an HOA-run RV park. They're showing up at 1 o'clock to lock us out of the shed, and they haven't served any legal notices of eviction or anything. They're just going to come and lock me out. And I wanted to call to have someone here around 1 o'clock just to keep the peace, because I know my rights as a renter, that they're not allowed to just come on and lock something up on the property I'm renting without something legal. We need to make a complaint, like a harassment complaint. I don't know if that can be made at that time or if we need to come in to explain what's been going on.
Okay. Let me give them a call, and I'll call you back. Ultimately, we'll try and be out there about 1 o'clock if that's really what you want us to do as far as the civil standby. Ultimately, I can't really get involved in a whole lot, being that it's a civil matter. Nothing criminal is really taking place, but I can get calls and talk to them and see what they say.
They feel like they are the local police within this small community and that they can do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's no problem.
So.
I can't believe we're excited to see. We're looking forward.
Never
to going
thought
back
I
to
would,
Minnesota.
right. Never thought I would say I'm ready to leave here, but gosh, yeah, it's just been crazy this year.
And some of the people in this campground have been really.
They have been
terrible. Neighbors.
terrible. Yep.
There's been a lot of rude people ever since things have opened back up. It's been pretty bad.
People are stressed, I think, more than usual. So, yeah, so we all just need to be kind.
Yeah.
Just be kind.
Makes my job a lot easier.
Right? Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That's no problem. If I have any more questions for you, I'll give you a call.
Cool.
Good.
Have a good day.
All right, take care.
Bye.
I let them know it would be an unlawful eviction and everything else. It doesn't sound like they're going to come out and change the locks. Doesn't really sound like they like my answer.
Okay.
But they understood it. They do not have the right to go change those locks. And even if they do, you do have a right to break those locks and regain access to it. So like I said, I don't necessarily think that they like or agree with what I have to say, but they do understand, what the law is. And, they did say that they're going to call code enforcement.
Right. Well, they've been trying to use that against us, but yet they're all doing it. They're.
Yeah, I understand. And I kind of explain to them 2 wrongs don't make a right, And
Yeah.
If everyone else is doing that, someone who doesn't know, someone who's not here can obviously understand that, hey, this may be okay if everyone else is doing that. And I explained that to her, and it kind of made sense. But like I said, it's not necessarily what they wanted to hear. So they're obviously, I think they're kind of going to take a step back from it and rethink their plan and, huddle or something.
She said she filed a police report against my girlfriend, said that she threatened her with a gun, which she did not.
It's not any type of criminal complaint or anything like that. It was just they called and asked what the right thing to do was, and the deputy basically told them that they document it, and it probably wouldn't be smart to be snooping around someone's property.
The deputy told her that she shouldn't be snooping around our stuff.
The deputy basically told her, like, you shouldn't be walking around on someone's on a private property without at least letting them know that you're there. As far as being the HOA, HOAs are in Florida. HOAs seem like they have more authority than I do as a law enforcement officer and on private property.
Seriously, they act like they're the local police in here.
Yes, yeah. And now, I mean, granted, like for example, my HOA, if I put my trash can out too early, they can own my house because I refuse to bring my trash can in at a decent hour because I work all night. But HOAs are the bane of my existence. I'll call her back and let her know and reiterate too that she can't be walking on, into moving y'all's stuff and stuff like that.
Numerous documented intrusions, and we looked at the legal definitions of harassment, and I feel like they are meeting the legal definition.
Them being on the HOA, it's not an excuse for them to commit crimes. Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate a couple things to her and make sure that, they kind of understand a little bit. And I'll call her back and let her know. We had a pretty lengthy conversation on the phone. And like I said, it didn't really sound like she was enthused to hear what I had to tell her. But
we're just trying to enjoy the area, but we love it here, but they have just made it like a living hell. So
yeah, sir, I understand. I'd be pretty upset with it too. Feel free to call us back. If I'm not working, any other deputy, more than happy to help you as well. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I hope this improves things, but we will call if we need to. He was so professional and helpful. thank you very much. This is Okaloosa County or Walton? Walton County.
Walton County.
Down here in Florida, the sheriff's office, very professional. Thank you very much.
Yes.
We appreciate that. So cool.
Yeah, it's so good because it really has been helpful.
That was such a relief.
Yes.
To finally have that happen.
Finally.
So what does Barney Fife do after being shut down and told to leave us alone? She doesn't leave us alone.
She has to step up her game.
Right. She calls the code enforcement department at the county.
Yeah.
And the very next day, the code enforcement officer showed up here while I was working the online seminar and started knocking on the doors. And I went out there. I was at a spot that I could get away to talk with him.
Hey, good morning.
Hi there.
How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. My name's Kurt with Walton County Code Enforcement.
Okay.
We received a complaint about someone living in a shed.
Okay.
Is that true? Is someone living in the shed?
We're just staying here temporarily. So.
Is someone staying in the shed?
We've got my girlfriend's son is in there.
So Florida Building Code does not allow anyone to stay in any residence that isn't duly permitted by the Florida Building Code through the building department. So any living space must be permitted through the building department.
Right. I mean, all of these are set up that way. They all have a bed in them, and people stay in there throughout the park. Guess it's just
they should not, and anyone that is there, I mean, that shouldn't be happening that way. Anything that has a shed that is not a duly bona fide living space, according to the Florida Building Code, cannot be staying in sheds like that. I don't know about the other ones. I didn't get a complaint on the other ones.
Right. Well, I mean, we're just renting this,
Sure.
and it doesn't say that in any of the rules that we signed or agreed to.
Sure, and that I don't have any control over what they write or how they write them or whatever they are. This is Florida Building Code.
Right, I get that. And the board here has been, harassing us about it. But the plain fact is they've told me they look the other direction with everybody else here. We witnessed other people, in that spot and this spot next door do it over Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
So, I mean...
And again, code enforcement, we are reactive to complaints. We don't go looking for complaints anywhere. We're reactive to that. So when we get a complaint, that's when we investigate that complaint.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't attest to anything else that happens anywhere else in the park. All I can attest to is what we're doing at this particular time on this particular complaint.
So what kind of actions do you take, or what's...
So you folks are tenants on this parcel, and this is owned by another person.
Right.
So I would ask you at this time, for the safety and well-being of the person that is staying there, that they not stay there anymore. However, I don't have that authority. This isn't my property. What I would do at this point is, now that we verified that someone is staying in there, I will send a notice of violation to the property owner, and I will tell the property owner no one is allowed to stay in there unless it is permitted as a, bona fide dwelling. If you do not wish to seek that someone staying or seek to make it a bona fide dwelling, then you need to not have someone stay there. They can decide to take further action if you don't vacate the property, and then they can go through like an eviction process or something like that to forcibly remove you from the property.
Right. You define living by what? Just being in there one night, or I mean, what?
If you are staying,
we full time, and we're only here a
Sure.
few more months.
But if you stay in a structure, okay, that is a permanently affixed structure on the property, which is what these obviously look like. They've got steps and skirting and all that kind of stuff on them. You cannot reside in it at any time for any reason. They are designed to be storage sheds to store materials, extra stuff, that kind of thing. They are not designed as a residence.
Okay.
A residence is clearly defined under the building code of what a residence has to include.
Okay.
So, that is not unacceptable at any time should they be staying in.
Okay. So you give a notice to the owner,
Correct.
and is that just a warning, or what is that?
That is a notice of so the way our process works for code enforcement, okay, we issue a notice of violation first. That's our first formal written notice. And in that notice of violation, it'll give them 10 days to comply. They can either decide to submit for a permit, or they can decide to go whatever route they decide to go, makes no difference to us, whatever there is. If they do not comply, then they will be issued a notice of hearing. Notice of hearing will then take that owner before a hearing and say, you either remedy the situation on the property, whatever that may be, or we will fine you X number of dollars per day.
Okay, so there's no fine until there's a hearing or something like that. Okay.
That is correct.
All right.
There will not be a fine until there's an actual hearing for it. And they still do nothing. Then what we will do is we will bring them back to a second hearing for a non-compliance.
Is that in person now with the COVID thing, or is that online?
It can be in person or online, either way.
Okay, because they're out of state,
yeah,
so
they're both available to anyone to do.
Okay.
Once they go to the non-compliance hearing, at that point, if it is found in non-compliance, they're issued an order imposing fines and administrative lien. So then we lien the property with the fines already accrued, and we continue to accrue fines from that point.
Okay.
After 90 days, if they still don't comply, then we will go forward with foreclosure of the property.
Okay, well, that's quite a process.
Yeah, normally speaking, you're talking about a 6-month long process to, if from day one no one complies, no one talks,
right,
to go through. It's about a 6-month process to get them through. Normally speaking, that's not the case. Normally people will comply and they'll ask for, what do I need to do, et cetera, and then
right. Yeah, well, we'll definitely comply. It takes some time to find another spot for him. He was unemployed for a while with the whole COVID thing, and we're just visiting the area, so get to hang out together. So
sure. And I understand that. I mean, I don't know what his situation is, and that is what it is with this situation. It's like that with a lot of people, and I have sympathy for that. But at the same time, I can't not react to the complaint. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's pretty much our process, and that's what it is. As the tenant, I mean, I would highly recommend you try to find somewhere else.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out. But as far as anybody else here and what they do,
if you see someone that's coming in, I'll give you one of our cards for our office. You're more than welcome to call in that complaint.
I mean, we're not going to do that. I mean, we're not that kind of people. I mean, we don't.
Unfortunately, by our board's order, we are only reactive to complaints.
Right. No, I got you. I can see your reasoning, but I mean, people show up here with lots of guests, and there's nowhere else to stay, and they've been doing it since they built this park. What, 30 years ago? Right. So.
And that very well may be, but again, I can't attest to what's been going on or what goes on around it. I can attest to what one I am investigating.
Right.
I can honestly tell you, I have never investigated another site in this park.
Okay.
I know that for sure or not. This is my actual first time in this park to know anything about it.
Okay. So. All right, makes sense.
All right.
So.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah. What's your name and badge number?
My name is Kurt Rose. I don't have a badge number. There are no badge numbers this time.
Oh, okay. You just look pretty official there. So
I'll give you one of my cards. That way you have one of my cards.
Okay.
So, if you have any further questions, you can give us a call.
Sounds good.
I'm happy to answer it for you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Let me grab one of my cards.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's our card.
Appreciate it.
If you have any questions, please feel free to call.
Sounds good. Thank you. You too.
Now, he was also very professional. He let me record it. He talked about the entire situation and how this enforcement works, which it's just a warning at first, and then it goes to the owner, and then he has time to respond, and there's some back and forth.
So this is like a long process that goes through this, and we weren't going to be staying here that long.
Yeah.
So we weren't really concerned about it.
Yeah, it's really not a big deal, and I'm thinking back to those email exchanges between the president of the board and the lot owner here. The president of the board was saying, oh, you're going to get fined like $50 a day for every day that you're not in compliance.
No, that's not true.
That's months
He can just lie about whatever he wants to.
Right, whatever he wants to do. So, that's why we're making this video, because, people that are given a little bit of power, president of a 30
lot campground.
It's like,
ooh.
Your job is to make
people happy and feel welcome
and enjoy it there, not nitpick and harass and abuse people at all. You shouldn't even be president of the board. Well, actually, I hope once this gets out there and the other owners see what you've done, that maybe you'll get voted out next time.
Yeah.
because you shouldn't.
You shouldn't treat people this way.
Yeah, and basically there's only one person on the board that's always been friendly
Yes.
to us.
Yes, sweet little
Yeah.
lady that she's on the
Yeah.
other side of where we are, and she probably
Sweet little short
know who
lady.
who we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely know who she is. We met her
Yeah.
the last time I was here.
And we're grateful for your kindness.
Yeah, and again, this is why we're putting this video out, so people can realize the mistakes that they're making. You know, if you are being heavy-handed in your management, look for ways to be kind to other people. So by the time we release this video, we're going to go ahead and share the location of this place so you know about it and you can, you know, avoid it if you want to avoid this situation.
He's joked around about calling it a challenge. If you want to come and stay here.
Yeah, pay the most amount of money or a lot of money for
Yeah.
rent, $1,100 to $1,300 a month
The harassment challenge.
here for the worst possible experience.
Ever.
It's a challenge.
We dare you.
Come on and stay here. Right, when people have friends and family come here and you've got a small RV, they can't all fit into the RV.
Right.
It just makes sense to let them stay in the shed.
And they all use it for that, so.
Right, the one that I stayed on last time had a bunk bed
Yeah.
in it.
Like, we don't care what other people are doing, and we don't understand why they care what we are doing. Oh, yeah, some of the other renters mentioned that the board, or Barney Fife specifically, does not like kids running around, having fun.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's why they were harassed at the pool.
One more thing about this RV park and not being family friendly is recently the board members decided to reduce the amount of people in your RV, a maximum of 5 people, down to a maximum of just 4. So I don't think that's really being inviting to people that have larger families. There are many other renters here that we haven't had a chance to meet that have also experienced the same problems.
Yes.
So it's not like we feel singled out, but we're really not
Yeah.
being completely singled out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're afraid to stand up for their rights.
Yeah. And that's what's really hard with this, is because you have all these people that are believing everything the board says when they're just full of lies and just bullying. And it's not right to do that to people. Be kind.
Yeah, totally be kind. And something that, you know, we say hurt people.
Hurt people.
So we have compassion for them as fellow human beings, you know, but we're not going to accept that behavior.
No, take responsibility for your behavior.
That, you know, there may be something happened in their past that they feel hurt over or not happy about.
Bitter,
their life.
angry, and they just want to take it out on somebody else. Like,
right. And that's not your right to do that. Even if you know, have a little bit of power to be a board member, you have to realize that, you know, you have to check yourself before you spread that kind of harassment
Yes.
and abuse.
and provide some common courtesy to people that reside here, whether they're renters or owners, and just post something ahead of time. 24-hour notice would be plenty to let, if you're going to cut their water off, if you're going to be walking behind their RV unexpected. It's common courtesy. That's all. And it's not a lot to ask for.
Right. And if you are being kind to other people, you're going to feel better yourself.
Yep. And people will be more kind to you. And then
Forward.
just pay it forward.
And I got to say that the owner here is a great guy.
Yeah, I hope
mean,
we get to meet him.
Yeah, he's hilarious,
Yeah.
great sense of humor, very laid back.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have done any of this stuff that he's felt kind of forced
No,
to do.
he was actually entertained by some of it too. We all kind of laughed about it, how ridiculous it was.
Oh,
so we
yeah.
really appreciate him working, you know, closely with us as we worked through this harassment issue.
Right, because he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
And we understand that. Yeah, so since Barney Fife was told or put in her place on what she should and should not do, she still wanted to exercise some rights. And so we have a private lot next door, which she would come over and walk to the very end and peek around to see what was going on over on our property. And we recorded it. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, she's not walking back behind anymore that we've seen.
Nope.
But she's still taking a peek around. And
Miss Curious.
I think we've got a little bit of footage of that too. So the owner said that a lot of the other lot owners are not going to be happy that Barney Fife called the code enforcement officer, because they are again dependent on these sheds for extra family members when they visit. And I mean, gosh, the owners right on the other side of us, they bought that lot recently, and one of the reasons was because of that extra large shed for guests.
Family. Yeah.
So to all the owners of lots here at this park, this is your board. This is what they do. Do you really think they should be running the show? Well, you have a vote. You can vote them out.
Although they're trying to monopolize this place by buying up all the lots so they can control this place.
That's right. Some of the board members own like three
Several
lots,
lots,
and so they get 3 votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just other renters that feel like they gotta like be really careful. It's other owners as well, because they've only got 1 vote.
Yeah.
And recently I've received some additional information from Stuart, the owner of the lot that we rented, that at least 3 other owners have sold their lots since the first of the year, and 1 long-term renter has left. Also, there are 8 empty lots right now, and 4 of them usually have renters in them.
It must be driving her nuts that Logan is still staying here.
And there's nobody else she can call now.
Yep, she's exhausted all her resources.
Right. And then just recently, the owner said that he sold the lot.
Congratulations to the owner.
Yeah.
Or former owner.
You're no
soon
longer
to be.
an owner.
Yes. Lucky you.
I know you're so happy
Yes.
to not be here. When you have management like this, it does affect the property values here.
Yeah.
When you have owners that want to sell because of you, you know,
it's going to affect your property values. I don't know if you can see the big picture.
Yeah, we should talk about the fact that they're evicting an owner that just because they have a tiny house on the property here.
Yes, somebody has a tiny house here and it's super cute. It's actually cuter than anything here. But they're evicting them because it's a tiny house and not an RV.
They went through a long court battle.
Sued them. So they have a history of this. It's a shame.
It's like there's a better use for that time and money.
And energy.
Is to, how about, you know, making it a nice place and a fun place for everyone to be. I want to add that there are good and kind people in this park, and I really hope that they regain control of this RV park board and make this a nice place to stay again. And even though the current board members have made some poor decisions lately, it's not an excuse to harass them or anybody else in this RV park. So if you want to be a part of the Be Kind movement, if you like one of these shirts, we will have a link down below. Thank you for buying one of those. And again, all of the proceeds go to help with Logan's
medical expenses, yes. And also the one he designed has like little arrows under it. We're going to record some of him in it and also include him in some videos. He wants to tell his story. We're going to be doing that.
And if you want to stay here and experience this for yourself,
the bad camping challenge.
Right. Pay lots of money,
get harassed.
And get harassed.
And see how much you can take.
Well, we hope your experience isn't that way, but we will put a link down below to this park because we definitely want you to know so you can come and experience it or you can avoid it.
Yes.
Whatever the case may be. And, well, let us know what you think of this down in the comments.
Crazy.
You know, if you've ever experienced anything like this or just would you come here?
And thumbs up.
Yeah.
Give us some encouragement.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.
You guys are great, for real.
And guess what? We are leaving.
3 days.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
cheers to that.
Cheers.
Woo, ready to go.
Subscribe to find out what happens when we actually leave this park for good and when we meet Stuart, the owner, or I should say former owner of the lot we rented, in person. Stuart is going to spend the night in the shed. Stuart, you're going against the code.
but see, I've got the Governor DeSantis is on my side because he's given me another month of where I can't get kicked out.